Being around niggas also be too much trying to be like,
You
this
know,
way you don't allow yourself to be emotionally available.
Yeah,
You know,
and you know with
sometimes
the
it's
gents, you don't even talk to each other like that. You won't even say, "Yo, bang it deal" or whatever. You'd be afraid of telling one of your boys, right, you bang it deal or because they know you diss them, but you laugh at them. You like our group of friends growing up were like a funny bunch of guys. We always diss each other and all this that stuff. But when I look back, it's like we should have really been more
emotionally available,
not just emotionally available for each other, like as gents.
What up, beautiful people? It's a Thursday. Hope you guys are good. My name is Bonanka,
and you are speaking to Dilu Zankao, aka you guys already know now, the Handsome Twin. So yeah, King, episode 6. No?
Episode 6, we are here.
Today I thought we should take an interesting conversation. You know, our podcast is also about having conversations that people don't really have a lot, and conversations that we'd like to have with people and just get a better understanding of things and people's opinions. So I think today let's dive into relationships.
Serious things right there.
You know how relationships play such a big role in who you are and shaping you, because this is the person that you're with all the time. This is your partner. This is I love you. This is person who knows your secrets. Person who knows so much about you. So let's dive into relationships today. Let's talk about that and
I think it's so important that we don't realize like how much we give up of ourselves to be in a relationship, to share some time, some effort, some love with a certain person. So we don't put an emphasis on having the right partner when you do decide to get into a relationship. Anyway, just having the right partner, somebody who can also support you, because sometimes relationships, like not just relationships for you and your girlfriend or your spouse, whatever, but your siblings also. Having good relationships with people, like civil, people are peaceful with each other. It really goes a long way to contributing to your own peace of mind as a person and how you perform in life. So it's very important the type of relationship also you choose.
Yeah, definitely. And even with romantic relationships, I think Njolo, whatever you want to call it, love, my boo, this and that. Like those are also important because sometimes the person you choose is someone who either helps you to go forward in life, or go backwards, or you're not moving at all. By the type of conversations you guys are having, by the type of person they are, their habits. There's you tend to take it for granted, but there's just so much you take in when you decide that this person is my partner or my girlfriend or whatever the case may be. This is someone who brings some level of energy and influence into your life. So, you have to make the right choice because some people choose people who are like bad influence on them. Now you're dating someone who, for example, let's say you're over grooving, you're over going out, you're over the clubs, you're over that type of stuff, but you date someone who loves to go to clubs, who is always there and whatnot, they will influence you in a way to start going back to something that you wanted to let go of. That part of you that said, okay, I don't want to do this anymore or as much. If you're dating someone who does that a lot, they do that. Or if you're dating someone who smokes or drinks or whatever. So sometimes that person has a direct influence on you because you spend a lot of time with them.
Yeah, guys. I think also like in Jolo, it's a whole entire game on its own. So it's all about understanding. Nobody has the game really figured out, but it's all about trying to understand, your role and how you also influence somebody else's life. We talk a lot about somebody who does this to me and does this to me, but you as a person in a relationship with somebody else, you also play a big influence on them. So it's also like what type of influence are you having? Like are you somebody who's supportive? Are you somebody there's some guys who just like to fight, or some women who just like to fight. Some people are just naturally aggressive. Some are like emotional blackmailers, some are obviously that happy vibe type of people, So it's also about how who you are and what you contribute to your relationship, because we always expect the other person to do certain things for us and be in a certain type of way. But how are you as a person to this person?
And obviously, as people, even when you get into a relationship, or after a while, after you've been in a relationship for a long time, you tend to be comfortable, you tend to relax, or you tend to forget, like what you were saying now, how much of you do you bring into the relationship. And like the level of influence you have on your partner, also like being accountable for these type of things. Like, I'm really influencing this person in a good way or a bad way. Like sometimes, do you have a positive influence on the people that you're around, and not just your partner, your family, your friends, your cousins, whatever. Like when you're there, what's the type of influence you have on them? There's those family members or your cousins or your friends or whatever who, for example, they drink a lot, for example. So every time you're around their space, it's about drinking. It's about you're getting drunk or you're going out or whatever. So those type of things. There's small ways that people influence you that you don't see, and you get so used to being with people and calling them your partner, your cousin, your family, or whoever, that you don't see the type of patterns or the type of things that they do that influence you. There's some things that you do because you've seen it from that person.
Yeah, and the culture, it's also different. It's actually crazy how two people become like two total strangers can come together, and now these people influence, like, start a family and all that. But anyway, I wanted to say, don't center your life around a relationship. You know how some people have centered their life around this specific person. If this person does this, I'll kill myself. If this person does this, I'll do this. You know what I mean? So it's important to remember that once upon a time we were strangers. So life is not, I can't center my life around you. Like, even if you leave or you cheat or whatever, I still need to be like, you know what I mean? I still need to find that value in myself to say my life is not centered around this person. So sometimes people are also a bit psycho. Guys, like, the world it is what it is. Things like cheating is something you cannot control. You or like your partner, or you can't control all your partner's actions. You can't control what they do. You know what I mean? We can all lie to each other. Yo, baby, I'm going to study, or baby, I'm going to sleep. But I can't control what the other person does. And being at peace with that will also bring you a lot of peace in life. Like, so even if somebody cheats on you, right? It is painful. Don't get me wrong. Like, sometimes you invested a lot of time and effort and money and what sacrifices, whatever, and then somebody comes and just like cheats on you. It is painful, but all I'm saying is, it's not the end of the world. Like, it's not about you all the time. You know what I mean? Even if somebody cheats on you, guys,
It's their body, it's their decisions. It's their time, it's their money, their effort. So like you said, you can't center your life around someone. Like, yes, you have to love people and respect them and be there for them and everything, but you should have a life outside of the relationship, I believe, because being outside of a relationship, you should have things that you're doing for yourself. Your own goals, your own friends, your own things that you do without your partner there. So sometimes people get so caught up in my partner, this and that, and your life, you center your life around that one specific person that was maybe just a phase in your life, was someone you were dating for 2 years and you broke up. We've all been in those relationships where in the past you're dating someone, you thought, this is my partner for life.
Forever. High school,
high school sweethearts and those things. But it's like, this person was in your life for 2-3 years. They were meant to teach you something, show you guys had good times, you had unpleasant times or whatever.
Can't hold on to people.
You can't hold on to people. Like, you gotta move on, and also don't be afraid to meet new people. Don't be afraid to. There's people who also struggle to find love because of certain things, but don't be afraid to like go out there and like meet new people. And the main point actually is, don't center your life around people, like around your partner, around your girlfriend, around whoever, because you still have to have your own life. And around, sometimes we tend to think we're gonna live forever, and it's like, dude, you're not gonna live forever. So you gotta also like do your own things and find your own happiness. Like, you can't center your happiness around a person. Like you said, you can't control someone's actions. And
so the game is not easy, man. This game of Joel is not easy, but it's all up to you, man. It's all up to perception. Like, how do you, like, we thought I am, you know what I mean? Sometimes over in relationships, what I've seen, you can, obviously you want this person, now you get this person, then obviously that effort decreases. You're not chasing it anymore, like, you know what I mean? And some people also get into relationships. Maybe you're in great shape when you go into a relationship, you're very attractive when you're in a relationship, but now you get comfortable, you kind of lose yourself, you start to gain that extra weight, you start to, that confidence decreases, and that's how sometimes relationships happen, where people, for example, people cheat on you because you kind of lost yourself. You know what I mean? You didn't
Let go.
You were this handsome, confident guy. You know what I mean? When you go into a relationship, now in this relationship, you are drained. You're not the same anymore. You like
People are like in their 20s with dead bodies. Dead bodies in their 20s. Like you've given up, like you said, to be healthy and fit. Now you're overweight and stuff. So, dude, like stop putting so much energy into other people also. I get it with relationship and love and family and parents. It's important to invest time in everything, but a lot of your time has to be spent on you and the things that you want and your passion and your happiness.
It can't be around other people, and even relationships. Sometimes people are really in relationships because they're lonely, not because you are ready for that stuff. You know what I mean? I think with myself also.
So you think with yourself,
I think with myself, when I look back at it, I've only been in a relationship with like a serious relationship with like 2 girls or 3 girls. My whole entire life, bro. You know what I mean? When I look back at it, I didn't really give myself or give others a chance like that.
as a chance.
You know, I didn't give myself a chance like that to be in a relationship. You know, especially if you grow up in this environment where so you amongst we grew up in this environment where it's guys and it's like we all like we're attractive guys and we confident. We kind of like guys. Let's push ourselves. We're cool. Let's push ourselves to be those guys, get hands and you know what I mean, confident around women and all that. So I guess it's also sometimes being around niggas also we too much trying to be like like this way you don't allow yourself to be emotionally available.
Yeah, and you know with the gents, you don't even talk to each other like that. You won't even say, "Yo, bang it or whatever." You'd be afraid of telling one of your boys, right? Bang it or because they know you diss them, but you'd laugh at them. You like we our group of friends growing up were like a funny bunch of guys. We always diss each other and all this that stuff. But when I look back, it's like dude, we should have really been more
emotionally available, not just
emotionally available for each other, like as gents.
Especially with men, you're not emotionally available
for other men.
Men to men, like a nigga can be just fresh off cheated on him, but dumb things, and he's just
can't talk.
He won't say anything, walk around like everything is good. You know what I mean? Women obviously will talk to each other, cry there. This guy.
But it's important even as gents to do that, like to open yourself up emotionally. But it's the type of environment, like we said, the type of people that you're around. If you're around friends that, I mean, when I look back at us, we used to always like diss each other as friends and stuff. But if more people are there for each other emotionally, like, hey, what's really happening at home, or what's happening in your love life, or advice, So sometimes even as gents, but I'm glad that our friendship now as those gents, with most of them from high school, a lot of our friends, my co-friends, now we have that emotional relationship where we can like talk as gents. Yo, dude, this is what's going on, and we can talk, and it's nice, being able to
be emotionally available as gents. We also need to do that.
Yeah, for other gents also, like don't be emotionally available for other gents. People can also come talk to you about certain things and advice and give you advice someone open-heartedly and put yourself in their shoes and just be mature about things.
Yeah, because with gents also it has to be a thing of we don't always hold each other accountable in terms of relationships, And obviously with women we don't know how you guys, it's not all clean, like you know what I mean. But with guys also we don't coach each other properly. Like niggas won't say dog, don't cheat on your hand. It's like nigga will just leave you and encourage you and tell you, why do I have
But at the end of the day, it's also, it boils down to choice because you can tell someone do something, they won't necessarily do it. But, or you're saying that emphasis of,
but that's support of a dog. Like, you know what I mean? There can't always be a thing of, hey, dog, stop what's the guy, or you know what I mean? There has to be a thing of sometimes of dog. Me, I don't support this. Sometimes if a guy can tell you straight, then you as a guy can take a decision. A nigga will be freshly married, already cheating, his friends are not saying anything. You know what I mean? It's like, freshly married, nigga.
And it also like with that, it boils down to what we're saying again, like the level of influence somebody has. Like if let's say we're a group of friends and there's 1 or 2 or 3 guys within the group that still love chasing girls, or whatever,
or boys for girls,
or boys for girls. If you're around girls or group of girls who "No, let's go get men. Let's go. Let's go to class. Let's
Show me
dress
stock
like
or
this. Show me, you know, the influence is there because if people are doing it within your circle, you're gonna feel like you wanna do it, or you're
Yeah.
more likely to do it because your core friends and your core influence is doing it. So
Your friends have a lot of influence on your relationship also.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Something
without seeing it.
without you seeing it, your friends have a lot of influence on your relationship. Niggas can tell you to do things the right way or
Yeah.
don't tell him. And when some people know, for example, even in relationships, like the seriousness of it. Maybe this chick cheated on the guy, the baby is not his, but the friends are not gonna advise the chick in a proper way, or we're gonna tell that guy, even if you lose him, sometimes imagine now you're raising some relationship sometimes. Imagine now you're raising a child or a child that is not yours.
Without knowing. There's people who know and accept it, sure, do it. But then there's guys who you've been led on for the past 25 years about this thing, and it's like you find that 25 years later, oh, it isn't your child.
Even men who have 2-3 families, he's married but he's got another family on the side. The wife doesn't know. Maybe they find out when the guy dies or whatever, but the wife doesn't know. So you know what I mean. So
And
in
in
relationships
families
also
is the
like
thing.
yes.
At the father's funeral, we find out he has 2-3 families there. It's like, oh shit, that's his kids also.
Yeah,
You
so
know? But it boils down to, I think, the level of influence people have on you and the level of accountability you're willing to take on the influence you have on others.
Yeah.
So knowing that the type of influence that I bring around people that I hang around is like, what type of person am I, and what, sometimes you actually have to sit and look at, okay, what type of influence do I bring? Maybe you're the friend who smokes a lot of weed, so your influence is you make people smoke weed indirectly, without knowing, because you always have it and maybe you're always ready to go, or you always want to smoke, so the people around you are more likely to do it. Or if you have friends or friends that are always drinking, maybe you visit your friend is drinking his booze all the time, or go out, he's like, I don't order to me now. That influence that someone's bringing into your life. There's people who can also influence you positively, like, hey, let's go to the gym, let's start training. Every morning at 8:30 we're there, and people who hold you accountable like that. So I think as people, we all bring a positive influence, some level of positive influence, and some level of negative influence to people. So we gotta also sit down and analyze those type of things, like what type of influence am I bringing to other people? It's like very important. But
yeah, I think when you just reflect on this, just thinking about it, like the relationships in life have one of the biggest impact on your life, like the whole entire life, like just because this is this person you're choosing to share your space with, your time with. So this person has multiple people, because obviously it's from high school, crutch, whatever, you're dating, and someone broke your heart, you gotta break somebody's heart. This is part of the game. If they're not breaking your heart, you're breaking somebody else's heart. If they're not cheating on you, you're the one who's cheating. You know what I mean? The game but it equalizes sometimes. Sometimes it's like, also I realized that you gotta have that maturity also. If you're a person who's cheating on their partner, life, how life is. You also have to accept that one day, or it's a possibility your partner get cheated on. And if you do find out, because a lot of guys, especially women, are very much easier with this. A lot of guys like to act tough. How can she tell her? How can she tell her? But when you know what I mean?
Never been caught.
You've been, but you know what I mean? So sometimes that's maturity. Okay, cool, we understand cheating happens. But if you do also have that maturity to understand that it can also happen to you, and how are you going to respond? Are you going to, just obviously being able to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. Yeah, I heard this person. Guys. Crying one man,
hey, my man, what's happening?
Tough on social media, background
crying, listening to R&B,
finding dude crying in the room. Yeah, dog. What's happening?
But yeah, man, guys, I feel like today my thing and the thing I want to emphasize is that level of influence we have on other people is like very, very important. Let's try and have positive influence. Let's try and encourage people to do the right things, like in life. And we're not saying hold their hand and walk with them like that, but just sometimes a word of advice or a word of encouragement to people you really love, like, dude, don't do that. Or, nah, or, just
Let's think. Sometimes also, I mean, I can only speak from a guy's perspective because most of the time I see like guys doing some of these things. Like, but sometimes also as guys, we gotta like mature up to say, hey, dog, you can't always, what I mean, want to be cheating and shit like that. I know it's more easier said than done because there's no one that can say they can never be tempted. You know what I mean? There's somebody that can come in a relationship. I don't know. Everybody has a strong relationship, but there's people that can come into a relationship and just turn it upside down. Whether it's this one guy or this one girl. You know what I mean? You know how these things start. Hey, some guy DM'd you hand and she didn't respond, and you do something. And then you know how these things also start, like affairs and stuff like that. It's like sometimes it's also like, eesh.
But I also think the way you behave in relationships is sort of influenced by your upbringing, your parents,
if
your aunts, your uncles, people that you got to see. Like, okay, these people are in a relationship. How do they behave? How do they act? So you sort of end up adopting those things, and that's where we talk about influence. Also, even as parents, your kids are watching you, like, oh, this guy behaves like this, or my dad behaves like this, or my dad does this, or my dad does this. And as they grow, they take those things. So that's what I'm saying. Influence. This type of influence.
That's the type of stuff you grew up hearing, and you also now you gotta play out on the side.
And not even just uncles, your mentors, people that you look up to. You see the one like, hey,
Rodman has a wife,
but yes, the whole sugar daddy thing. That you see those things like, oh, this guy is married.
The guys you also look up to. You want to give out whatever is these things.
So influence in some way, and nobody's perfect, but we just have to be more alert to our influence and the energy we bring around other people.
Our decisions.
You gotta be accountable. It
can't always be your partner. Sometimes it's you.
Sometimes it's you, like your level of maturity and emotional, thinking and whatnot. So let's just make better decisions as people, and I think.
So your relationship affects your life the most. So choose your people wisely. Some people are psychos out here, some crazy ass people.
And don't be afraid to leave people also. Like, if you see this person's not really taking me anywhere, like go. Because sometimes in relationships, people also hold on for, like you said, too lonely. They don't have any other option. This is the only person that's showing you some sort of love and affection. But this person's not good for you. Or, so sometimes also don't be afraid to leave. There's so many other beautiful people to meet. Oh, beautiful souls.
Just go on Instagram.
There's so many people to meet. So don't hold on to toxic relationships where you're not happy.
And sometimes also the thing is, it's not gonna work out. You can't, for example, be afraid to get married because you might get divorced. Like, if you do get divorced, it just didn't work. You know what I mean?
But don't rush into things like marriage.
No, I'm saying also, you know how people will put this fear into you, saying, "Hey, everything in life is." You know what I mean? You can't say. Sometimes it's just a thing of embarrassment. You say, "Oh, we got divorced. The relationship didn't work." Now you're kind of scared of what the family is gonna think or whatever. Even you introduce your partner to your parents or your family, then the relationship doesn't work. You know what I mean? Sometimes it is what it is, guys. It's a journey. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy the people. You know what I mean?
But leave if it's not fulfilling and it's not fruitful and you don't see a future with this person. Also, don't waste someone's time, guys. Sometimes we're guilty of this as
Sometimes you just wanna yam, but
wasted someone's time. When I look back at some of those relationships or things that you did in the past, you wasted someone's time. Like, you showed interest in someone unprovoked, and now they like you, but you don't like them. It's like, don't waste people's time.
Imagine also sometimes obviously it's harder, it's easier said than done. Like, imagine. Relationships, sometimes people get into relationships because they want. Some girls will be like, nah, I'm not gonna have sex with you if we're not in a relationship. Relationships and niggas
lie. And it's like, okay, let's get into a relationship just so.
But imagine imagine how many, as a guy, imagine how many girls you could have slept with if you told them straight, like, dude, me, I don't want to be in a relationship. Just wanna, there's no sweet way to put it. I just want to sleep with you or whatever.
Even
I don't
girls
want-
telling guys that.
even girls, like
also
sometimes
act like
they
don't want that
and blah 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 blah. You're taking the long route, but this is what we both want. Let's get to it. And okay, back in the days, now we are
now
you
we're
know,
more mature.
so if people could have been more mature, imagine like as a guy, how many hands you could have slept with. You told them straight, yo, I want to sleep with you. She tells you, no, I cool, done. You know what I mean? It's not a
Waste
thing
each
of
other's time.
you wasting, you're trying to date, you're trying to go take the long route of, yo, can I see you? Yo, can we? You know, now when you start going on dates like stuff, it's the
And
relationship.
gents also stop sending girls. When can I see you? I think girls that shit annoys a lot of girls. When can I see you without like action? Like, you know, let's meet up, kai at this time, this thing, you know. So
Yeah, but anyway, episode 6,
Anyway,
guys.
guys.
Thank you guys for watching. You know, very interesting topics coming. You know, just it's all about talking about things that also help with our personal growth. So yeah, very interesting topics. We have to talk about some of the things that people are afraid to talk about. So yeah, just keep watching. Please like, subscribe, please share, please
Yeah.
comment, guys. Those comments also do matter. Yeah.
yeah, you can also comment topics that you guys want us to talk about, and yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and whatnot. And we're not saying we know everything, and we're not saying everything we're saying is honest and it's the actual truth. But a lot of things here are based on our opinions. So
Experience also.
yeah, opinions and experience. So with that being said, episode
what it
6,
is.
guys, peace out. Thank you guys so much for
We
watching.
are
See you.
here.